Welcome to the Bad Mom Show, where we flip the script on shame, shed light on what's made you feel invisible, and take your story back. It is time to step into that bold, baddie mom you were created to be. Around here, BAD stands for blessed, already approved of, and divinely designed, because you are not a bad mom. You are a leader. You were chosen for your family on purpose. You are divinely designed and anointed as the heart of your home, and you can confidently own your mantle of leadership as a fiery woman to lead with boldness, not burnout. This is your space to reclaim the parts of your story that have felt like weaknesses and discover they were actually your superpowers all along. It is time to shine as a BAD mom. Are you with me? Let's go. Hey friend, welcome back to the Bad Mom Show. It is so good to have you here where we flip the script on shame and we rewrite our stories because that is not your portion, my friend. If you've been following along, I started an anger series, which has kind of gotten broken up a little bit because I had some incredible guests on the show that I had to bring them to you in that time. So if you missed part 1 and part 2, go back. There are a few episodes back. Go and watch those or listen to those. Today, we are going to continue on the anger series. This is part 3. But first, I just want to check in with you. How are you doing? How are you feeling in this season? It is the holidays. We're coming off of Thanksgiving and entering into that Christmas holiday season. It is all the things. I'm feeling it too. So I just want you to give yourself permission to, take a step back for a second. Give yourself credit. You're doing a lot and enjoy it, right? There is so much pressure to get so much done in such a short period of time, and it kind of steals the joy of the season. And I thought maybe this conversation, this discussion was timely, popping up here at the beginning of December as we enter into this holiday season that is supposed to be joyful, and truly it is about Jesus, right? It is about his birth, the Savior of the world. But we get really wrapped up in all the other things. And besides busyness, we're lacking sleep. Maybe you have events to host, trying to keep everybody happy, trying to keep everybody on track, on schedule, also trying to take care of yourself. Things start falling to the wayside. And I know for myself, I have felt some of that. And anger can be one of the reactions because you're triggered more easily. Your resources are lacking if you're not taking care of yourself as well, if you're not getting good sleep, if you're not eating good meals and not working out, all the things that fuel you, spending time in the Word, getting up early, getting that quiet time in. It's really easy for us to fall back into old patterns of control and performance and perfection and people pleasing to just get by. It's that stress false fuel. I know that I can feel it when it's coming on and it doesn't feel good. So just check in with yourself. And if that's going on, it's okay. But give yourself permission right now. Take a deep breath. Know that you're doing a lot and it is enough and that you deserve to enjoy this holiday season too. And if you have gotten angry, it's okay. Today, we're going to explore why it's important to be curious about that. So part 1, we talked about anger, the truth about it. And then we talked about what's underneath the anger as the signal to something else deeper, usually rooted in some form of fear. And today we are going to continue that conversation about the repercussions, the fallout basically of what happens when we don't commit to resolving the roots of our anger. Now, if you're doing that work and you're still getting angry, I want you to know that's okay too. It doesn't mean that all of a sudden it's going to just disappear. Anger is a part of our human nature. It's part of how we were created. But we don't want it to be our default, and we certainly don't want to ignore it and avoid it because, as we're going to talk about today, It needs somewhere to go. And if it doesn't find somewhere to go, it gets stuck in our bodies. So let's jump into it. So, what happens? What happens when anger stays stuck in our bodies? When we avoid it versus getting curious about it? When honestly, we become more accustomed to feeling tense and like in that triggered mode, irritated, when that becomes like our default, it can happen. Or maybe you start noticing that you're saying you're fine, but you're not fine. You have that underlying, like, simmering sense inside of you that people can feel that tension, but you're distant. Maybe you're like numbed out to joy, and you start actually removing yourself and isolating from those situations that used to bring you joy. The truth is that our emotions have an energy. You can feel that, right? Like there, if you think about something that makes you happy and joyful, do that right now. You feel a relaxation sensation happen in your body. If you think about even, your senses can, you think about a food and you can like literally start salivating thinking about it. So you think about positive emotion, something that makes you feel happy and good. Your body relaxes. It stops tensing. There's an energy to our emotions. So if we're constantly in this angry, irritable, tense, frustrated, stressed out state, even just me saying that, I bet you can feel the difference in your body. Emotions are energy in motion. That's literally the definition of the word. And so they need a place to go. They need a release. But with anger, with sort of undesirable emotions, shall we say, it's not exactly something that you want to make time for, right? It's not like you're like, ooh, let me go explore what this feeling is in my body. No, it's uncomfortable. More often than not, it's causing us pain and we want to avoid it. But there's a biological chemical thing going on we're going to talk about today. But if it doesn't find an outlet, so your emotions are energy in motion, picture it like a wave. I'm sure you've heard of big emotions described that way, or maybe you've described them to your kids that way, that your emotions don't need to control you. It's like a wave. You got to kind of let it rise and then let it fall, but it needs a release. Like when your kids are in a state, right? You know that eventually they're going to settle down. But usually, when you can co regulate with them, it helps them calm down a lot faster because you have given them a safe space for that big emotion to dispel out of their body because then they no longer are in that panicked state. You have created a comfort for them that says, you're safe, you're not alone, I love you, I see you, I'm here to take care of you, I will help you through this. But truth be told, a lot of us didn't get that growing up. So if anger has become part of your MO and it's sort of a default, there are serious implications for your health, physically, mentally, and emotionally. It affects us relationally, obviously, and even spiritually. So, one of the phrases that I remember hearing, I read a book a long time ago, and it's literally the title of the book is Feelings Buried Alive Never Die. And I just really took that to heart. And there's another book that we actually used at Freedom Academy. It's called The Body Keeps the Score. And it's true. Maybe you've heard the phrase that there are issues in the tissues. Your emotions will get stuck in your tissues, your physical being, if they don't have somewhere to go. So we need to process it, metabolize that energy, move it. It needs to move. Because if we don't transform it, we will transfer it into either ourselves where we suppress it and it gets stuck and causes problems, or we transfer it, we expel it out onto others, which we don't want. So let's talk about this. You might not even realize it's been going on because let's be honest, busyness is a really good distraction. So when we feel things that we don't want to deal with, it's really easy to avoid them if we're too busy to deal with it, especially with holidays right now. But sooner or later, sorry about that. Sooner or later, it bubbles back up, and we don't want that. So thinking about how we're created, okay? Um, before you had language, verbal language, you had this body and came into this world and it immediately started looking for information, for feedback about who you are in this world that you just came into. So more often than not, it's we go to our caretaker. We look to our caretakers, our moms and our dads. We feel that safety, that warmth, but your body is in a sensory mode. All of its input, all of its information that your brain is interpreting and organizing and analyzing and sensing safety, love, goodness, value, or danger, isolation, fear, worry, insecurity. All of that stuff starts so early, like beyond your earliest memory. So we're working with things in our bodies that have been there a really long time. But man, it is so amazing when you can start getting curious about what your body remembers and what your body is trying to communicate to you. Before the anger comes out or you suppress it and isolate or get dismissive, there are warning signals going on in your body that feel uncomfortable. So oftentimes we'll avoid it. But if we can get curious, this is when the work really gets it opens doors that you never knew were there. And you can really start healing. You really start understanding yourself better. And that's how we start healing. It's amazing. So here we are, this little body, sensing if we are safe, if we're not. And we talked about survival brain a few times, but it's just something we need to talk about because that is how we're hardwired. That's like your ancient brain in the back of your in the brainstem, and that is controlling. It's putting out those feelers all the time, and that is the information that it's stored based on your body and your attachment, how that attachment style was. Was it secure when you were little? There are technical terms. Was it an anxious attachment or avoidant or sort of just really disorganized ways of attaching? And so those things got imprinted into us so early on. And now here you are as an adult, and those things are still the lens that you're seeing your relationships, your worth, your value, your thoughts are all filtering through, and then your choices. So it's this anger that is either expressed or suppressed. We want to find a healthier outlet for it because let's talk about the physical implications of suppressing it or even expressing it too often, honestly. It's both. It can manifest in a lot of physical symptoms, such as chronic muscle tension, usually in the shoulders, the back, your neck, TMJ issues from clenching your teeth, just that stress state, like tension, ooh, just so tight all the time. Chronic migraines, headaches, digestive issues. A lot of that is emotional stuff. IBS, joint pain, chronic joint pain, or like early arthritis. A weakened immune system. That is a huge one because if your body's constantly in this stress state, it weakens your gut, it weakens, and your immune system is primarily housed in your gut. So are a lot of your hormones, including your happy hormones. So if they're depleted because of this level of stress, cortisol, and adrenaline constantly present, it's a lot harder for you to access joy. Mental fog, right? It's hard to think straight. You're kind of numb. Chronic fatigue that goes along with it. Early aging signs. Now, I know we don't like that, but it can. I mean, think about when somebody is, and you can like see it on their face, someone that's just like angry and bitter all the time. Their face looks older, their skin looks older. Weight gain or just like inability to lose weight, there's a huge emotional aspect to that. Insomnia, inability to fall asleep or stay asleep. Those are just some of the physical symptoms of staying in this suppression or constant arousal of stress hormone that comes with unresolved anger. Emotionally, There are things that might seem obvious, like constant stress leading to anxiety, maybe even panic attacks, hypervigilance, constantly just on edge about everything, and almost like feeling like the world is out to get you, right? Like just sort of this combative state always. Depression, again, because it's hard to access those happy hormones. Numbness or lack of joy, sadness. Those are just some of the emotions that could become more present by this unresolved state of anger, because it's not just about your thoughts. It is a chemical imbalance that has now been created in your body. So it's really important. This is a crucial topic for all of us. And then there's the impact that it can have on our relationships, and it's usually within our home. My heart is for you moms, because you set the tone for your home. And we talk about this. Hey, friend, thank you so much for being here and following the Bad Mom Show. I would love to hear from you, so let's connect. After the show, send me a DM and let me know what's hitting home for you. What do you struggle with the most as a mom? And what topics would you like to hear more about? This show is all about connection in the community, because that is how we truly grow. So reach out to me at the Teresa Todd on Instagram, Facebook, or even TikTok, and I cannot wait to hear from you. We talk about that all the time on this podcast, because you are the heart of your home. So if you're setting the tone of your home and your tone is irritable and stressed out and distracted or short tempered, that is what's going to leak out into the energy of your children, your spouse, your marriage. We know how it is. It affects everything. So becoming aware of anger's roots is really important, because once I know for myself, it felt like this wall that I was like, man, I have to like get over it, like get over that wall. I gotta not even like bust through it. I just had to like get over it. And but that never works, because it's a judgmental vantage point, right? You're just like trying to fight the wall, and it's like, oh, it's not moving, right? And then you're frustrated with yourself, and you're become your most harsh critic, and it just leads to these cycles of shame and guilt and frustration with yourself, and more isolation, because you feel like it's true that there's something wrong with you, when in reality, when you start getting curious about this anger that you were not born to be, right? Anger is a part of who you were created, like your human biological creation, but it wasn't your portion. You weren't created to just be an angry person. So if you can get curious about the roots of that anger, you will see that at one point in time, anger actually served you well. It protected you, whether it actually physically kept you safe, um, from an actual physical danger, or if it made you feel more in control and it made you feel powerful to puff up and be tough. It served a purpose in an otherwise helpless situation. But now you're an adult, and that protective wall has become a barrier. And now you do feel like you're in prison, and you don't understand why you can't get through it, because you have to get curious about why it was there in the first place. And your body will tell you things that you can't just think up on your own. Yes, it might come in memory, but when you can feel the loss, the sensation of, man, when I was little and experiencing that level of pain because I felt so misunderstood, man, that's what's coming up in me right now. And it's coming up because now as an adult in this moment with my child, he hurt my feelings and I'm feeling so misunderstood, but it comes out as this, I need to control the situation. I need to feel more in control. So it comes out as this angry outburst, and then you feel bad about yourself. So it's just, there is so much freedom when you start getting curious about these roots, because you don't want to push away the people that you love, right? But vulnerability feels dangerous. Yeah, it feels scary. And I get that. And that's okay. It's good to admit that. But you don't want your brain to just continue in this autopilot, right? We have these highways in our brains, how we function for so long, and we're trying to rewire it. So don't get frustrated. The process is not an overnight thing, but step by step, I promise you will see changes and you will feel more freedom and relaxation in your physical body too. So you might withdraw to feel regulated or more in control. Um, your kids, you might hear your spouse say that they feel like they have to walk on eggshells around you. They feel like they have to avoid you because they don't want to unintentionally set you off. So it's almost like this self-fulfilling prophecy because now you're seeing the evidence of like, oh, people want to stay away from me or I'm too much, right? These are the loops, these are the lies, these are the labels from your past, and you're finding evidence of it because it's a broken lens. But we have to start nailing those down, right? We have to start becoming aware of them because the worst thing that can happen from this is that we're modeling this unhealthy way of communicating, of relating. You don't want your kids to learn to relate this way. And truth be told, you don't want them to one day grow up and intentionally move far away from you or, you know, not want to be around you because it was too hard to be around you growing up. That's just, I'm speaking honestly because that has been a fear of mine. I don't want that. And so that is one of the things that really propelled me to start doing my own work. You don't want to feel angry all the time. I don't want those physical side effects. I don't want to have those emotional impacts, but I certainly don't want the relational ones either. These are the most important relationships of your life. These are the people that you love the most and cherish. I mean, this season with your kids is so short. And so it really does matter. You don't want to model that. And the more you learn how to regulate yourself, the healthier you're going to leave your children because you're teaching them how to regulate. They're going to have big emotions. You don't want them to walking around in shame cycles. You want them to learn how to regulate. So this is the relational aspect of unresolved anger, that barrier to true intimacy, really, in your relationships, and the freedom and the peace to be yourself, right? Man, it is so draining to be putting on a front or, you know, just constantly ruminating in these stressful thoughts and feelings, this performance mode, and it's never ever enough. So it's very defeating. And you just wonder, why can't I just enjoy my life, right? And this, especially this season, you should just be enjoying this as much as everybody else. And that is your portion. But we have a real enemy, and he wants you to stay stuck in these cycles of shame. He wants you to stay isolated. He wants you to continue blaming yourself and thinking that you are the cause of all the problems, to be overwhelmed and drained and physically and mentally and emotionally depleted. So we don't want him to win, right? Don't let him win. Okay, the spiritual fallout, I I bet you can imagine. If we have these unresolved roots of anger that are rooted in fears of being unqualified or unworthy or not enough, of being helpless, alone, isolated, of being unseen, of undervalued, misunderstood, like we don't matter, you will take that and it will impact how you relate to God. And I experienced this for sure. Um, when you live with a lot of anger and you haven't begun to do your work, you haven't talked about it, you haven't like exposed it to the light, there's a lot of shame attached. And shame says, it's not, I did something bad, it's I am bad. It goes to the core of your identity. And so it's not something that you openly share. So it's a really, really heavy, negative place to be. And it makes you feel like a disappointment, not only to yourself, but you find evidence of it in your home. You'll find evidence of it in your marriage. Every time that there's a conflict, it feels like it's your fault and you're a disappointment, right? Or if you're, um, have angry outbursts at your kids, you feel like the bad parent. You are the disappointment. So then you go and you pray to God, and guess what? you feel like a disappointment to him too. This is real. And I want to know if this hits home and if you've ever thought about this, because I remember experiencing that in my prayer life. And I remember admitting it to one of my mentors and just crying and saying, like, man, I don't want to disappoint him. And I feel like I'm such a disappointment to him, not fully understanding the love, the unconditional love of God. That when I was feeling that, if you have felt that, it breaks his heart. It truly does. Like, he hurts knowing that you're hurting to that level. It pains him to see you wrapped up in just knots and lies about your worth when he knows who he created you to be. And he created you to be something marvelous. He created you in his image. He created you with all of his giftings. And to see you shrink and just weighed down under the lies of your past, these woundings that were never intended for you, but they happen because we live in a broken world. We're raised by broken people and we are broken ourselves. That's why we need Jesus. But the condemnation is not from God. That sense of there's something inherently wrong with me. I am bad. I am not worthy of love. I'm a disappointment. That is from the enemy. And it pains God to see you come into agreement with those lies. It pains him to see you living with that veil over your vision. So just know that he wants you free. He will go to the you don't even know the lengths that he will go to help show you just a glimmer of how he created you to be and start to set your heart free. He wants to stop that pattern. He wants to break it right now, but it takes your cooperation. This is a co-labor, but he will stop at nothing. He will pursue you again and again. And that is just one of the greatest gifts of our God. And he is a supernatural God. He can do above and beyond your wildest dreams. So, no, you are not too far gone. There is no such thing. He can meet you wherever you are. In Psalm 34:18, it's a great reminder. It says, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. I can't think of a better way of describing the shame that comes with believing that there's something wrong with you, that you are just this angry, awful person. It is crushing to your spirit and your heart is broke. It is broken. But God is not a God of condemnation. Mm-mm. He wants to restore your heart. He wants to redeem what was hurt in your past, what broke you, and he wants to use it for really bigger purposes than you can even imagine. So that is the hope. That is the joyful expectation. So if you're listening today, I know this might seem like a heavy topic, but I really believe it's something that we all grapple with in one way or another. Like that wrestle for your identity, that wrestle about your worth, especially if anger has been a part of your story. Just know that you're not alone and it's okay. And that you can heal your story. You can heal your anger. It is not your default. There are different ways, but just again, it begins with a curiosity and a desire to say, okay, I'm no longer going to come into agreement with these lies about myself. Um, the healing really does begin when you choose to look back with honesty and curiosity versus judgment and shame. And I can say that from personal experience. Are you going to still have angry moments? Yes. But will they define you? No. You will start to make consistent small steps, and soon the weight of it will feel lighter. You'll start to become more aware of your triggers and that sensation of anger sooner. You'll learn how to repair and restore with humility sooner, which is such a gift to your children and your spouse. And again, just the rewiring of your brain is a godly thing. It is biblical. I know we talk about neuroscience a lot. You see it a lot on social media, and I love it, but it is biblical. And the more you get into God's word, the more you renew your mind with his truths, the more you are creating that path in your brain, and the less likely it will go to the old habit of anger. And you are going to be so surprised about what comes up. God loves you. He can handle your anger. He can handle your fear. He just wants your honesty, and he just wants your partnership in it. Everything that you bring into his light is going to be exposed. What does it say? Like the darkness that cannot overcome the light. So it loses its power. All right. That's my message for you today. But before you go, I just want to give you some reflection questions because I know this was a lot. And you're probably going to have to go back and re listen to a little bit of it. Number one, here's some, I've got just a few journaling questions that you can take back with yourself in your quiet time, or if you have time now, do it. But I want you to think about a recent time when you've gotten angry and it's either been a blow up, you expressed it, or you repressed it. Where did you feel it in your body? Just try to imagine it and think about where you could feel that tension in your body and how did it feel? Was it tight? Was it hot? Was it numb, tingly? Did you feel like you wanted to like run out of your skin? Did you feel numb, like you were frozen? And then after you identify those things, I want you to ask yourself, what's underneath it? Can you name the feeling? Were you scared? Were you sad? Were you lonely? Did you feel insecure or small or insignificant? Did you feel misunderstood? Did you feel helpless? Name those things. And then ask yourself, when else in my life have I felt that way before? And let the Holy Spirit show you. He will show you. Bring up the memories. And again, curiosity and compassion, not judgment. And then I want you to ask yourself, what did I need in that moment? When you were that little person, feeling those feelings, what did you really need in that moment? Can you give that to yourself in this moment now with the help of Jesus? Let him come with you. Surrender those moments to him in honesty and give that compassion to yourself that you needed in those moments. And if you're afraid to do that, that's another great question to ask yourself. Why? What are you afraid will happen if you really let yourself look back, name the feelings, and feel it and release it? So those are just a few questions that you can take into your quiet time. If you do this, I would love to hear from you about how it goes. If you have some like just insights or revelations or you just feel like a little glimmer of breakthrough, I just want to applaud you and I want to encourage you that that is how you begin to rewire this story. You are not an angry mom. You are not a bad mom. You are fully blessed and approved of and divinely designed, not just to lead your home, but you are divinely designed as a daughter of the Most High King. You bear his image and he loves you and he has great purposeful plans for you. So never doubt it. And I hope this episode really spoke to you. If it did, I would be so honored if you would please go to your platform and leave me a review and then share this episode with a friend. And if you share it on social media, please tag me at the Teresa Todd. I would love to connect with you and say hey and thank you. And as always, make sure that you are subscribed and following the show because new episodes drop every single Wednesday. We have a couple more episodes in this anger series, but we're going to break because I have an interview that I have to bring you next week. You are going to absolutely love this guest. He is incredible, and his message literally is like a divine download. So just get ready. And then we'll continue the anger series after that. I hope that you are enjoying this holiday season. And if you're not, take a break, take a deep breath, go through these questions, and remind yourself that you are meant to enjoy this season too. And you are not an angry mom. All right. Until next time, I'll see you then.